Hi, welcome to Make with Care. My name is Care and this is my making podcast. It's primarily knitting, sometimes with crocheting and other things I might get up to. But today is all knitting all the way and I've got a lot of summer projects to show you. So let's get right into it. I'll start off with what I'm wearing today, which is my mixed rib cami by Florence Miller. I started this took me about a month to make, and I used knitting for olive, cotton merino, and the shade red currant. This took me about 3 skeins to make, and I made the size large. I used 3mm needles, and yeah, I love this top. This is probably my favorite summer make so far. This top is constructed, you start at the top back, work your way down the back panel, pick up for the front, right, left, and then connect pretty quickly. To make this lovely boat-shaped collar neck. This is used in a mixed rib pattern. The single one's some twisted rib, and then we've got regular rib, I guess. And it's finished off with I-cord edges at the top and the arms. So you pick up after you're done to do the collar and the armholes. This was kind of a rush to the finish line for me. So I ended up making it a little bit more cropped than I normally would have. It's like a little bit below my belly button, but I actually really love this length. I was originally gonna lengthen it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it's perfect for wearing with high-waisted bottoms like I usually like to wear. I've worn this with skirts, shorts, pants. I'll put a picture or two in here so you can see. But yeah, I really like it. This yarn I found so nice to work with. Probably my favorite summer yarn that I worked with. The little bit of merino content, I believe it's 70-30 for cotton to merino. The merino I feel like really just helps the knitting experience be better. And honestly, I feel like this is pretty cool to wear. Like I don't feel too hot. I felt hot kind of no matter what because it's been so warm here on the Northeast. But I think that this is a really nice, comfortable yarn. I haven't felt like, it doesn't feel very woolly to me, like when it's on or anything. I would say I'm a little bit sensitive to like woolly stuff, and this doesn't bother me at all. I really like this fabric. I think I will go for this yarn again in the future. I think for the rib, I'm really glad that I used a merino, something with a merino in it. I actually would probably, if I make this top again, I might make like a winter kind of version in all merino, or maybe I'll wear it in like the shoulder seasons too, because I just love this neckline so much. I really love how this top looks and finished. I also really enjoyed the knitting process. I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is a labor of love. And it definitely is. I mean, any summer top that you work on 3mm needles or smaller takes a long time, but I found the like rib pattern quite relaxing. I will say, once you join the round and you're no longer doing purl through the back loop for the twists, I did enjoy it more. I like just knitting through the back loop. I don't find that super slow. I did find purling through the back loop sometimes a little bit slow. But yeah, I will say the one thing that I'm not super happy with, and I think this is just a me issue with knitting, so if anybody has any tips, I would love them, but the last knit on my rib before the purls always kind of expands a little bit, and that definitely happens in this top too. I tried really hard to make sure I'm pulling that last knit and the first purl pretty tightly to try and reduce the effects of that, and I think a lot of them blocked out and look quite neat actually. But there are some places, especially down on the bottom, like right here is one, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is quite wide, and so I would love to figure out how to fix that. I know in 1x1 ribbing it's really apparent to me sometimes as well, and I do try and make sure that I'm pulling it pretty tight. Generally speaking, I'll go down needle sizes, but on this top, you know, it's the whole top, so I can't go down a needle size for the rib because it's the whole top. So if anybody does have any tips on how to reduce that last knit from like expanding before the purl, I saw some people say that you can like knit through the back loop and then purl through the back loop or something like on the previous round to like untwist it, like twist it, untwist it, like on purpose. So yeah, any tips you have for trying to avoid that, because I do think I would like to make this top again because I love it so much, but I would love for the ribbing to just look slightly neater. I am quite pleased about how my twisted knits look, and I don't think there's any significant differences between my knitting and my purling. I've been trying to focus, making sure my purls are not bigger. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this top turned out. I've worn it a bunch already, and it's my favorite summer knit, I think. My next summer knit to talk about is my Cumulus Tee. So this is a pattern, oh, I didn't say, this pattern was by Florence Miller, the mixed rib cami. My next one though is my Cumulus Tee. This is a pattern by Petiteknit. I knit this up in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the shade Pea Shoots. And I knit this on a 3mm needle. So this tee was a labor of love. This is quite big, took a very long time, and I like the result. I'm not very good at weaving in ends either. I didn't weave in this one end very well, and it keeps coming out. I am quite happy with the result generally, but it came out bigger than I had hoped for. So I realized midway through making this tee that you're not supposed to do your bust measurement based on your full bust. You're supposed to do it on the upper bust for a lot of these garments unless it says otherwise. I didn't know that. I was measuring full bust and then making a size bigger than what I should have been for a lot of these things. And I did do a swatch for this, and I was on gauge, and then the finished garment has like a slightly bigger gauge. I'm not sure if it's because of the weight of the garment, but it turned out my gauge very slight. It's really still pretty close. But I do like the fabric that I ended up with. It's not see-through. It is quite cool, but just because of my misunderstanding about the measurement thing, and also I think it ended up slightly stretching out, like after blocking more than I had anticipated. This t-shirt is a little bit bigger than I would like. I like the close-fitting nature of this. I feel like I love my mixed rib cami. It is really nice, and it's very comfortable, but it just ended up like width-wise here and down here a lot bigger than I had hoped, and so it to me doesn't look as neat. And just because of my body shape, I feel like I benefit more from things that aren't super oversized for like a kind of like a cleaner look. But I was able to style this pretty successfully by tucking it in to some shorts, and I have some pictures of me wearing it in New York. And I will say it feels amazing. I do like this yarn. I would use the yarn again, but with the knowledge that I do think it stretches quite a bit. So I would want to take that into consideration. And I don't think that that's necessarily represented in the swatch, because the swatch is, you know, this big or whatever. It's not going to stretch the same amount as like a full t-shirt that's kind of like hanging on it. I mean, I obviously don't hang this, I fold it. But you know, when you're wearing it, I noticed that throughout the day, I wore it like for a really long day in New York, and I noticed throughout the day it just became bigger and bigger. Like the weight of it stretched it more. So I would say that this yarn is super comfortable, and I would use it again. And I know that this is a really popular summer yarn, but to me, I like the cotton merino better as of right now. And I've only made one garment each, so it's not like really a fair comparison, like fully acknowledge that. I just think the wear of this has been much less stretching out. However, this is a much smaller garment. So I might feel the exact same way about this t-shirt in a different yarn. This took me a very long time. I worked on this on my road trip across the country. It's just a massive t-shirt. It's a big t-shirt in 3mm needles. And I think I did make the sleeves shorter than was called for, because I don't think that the sleeves at the elbow would be very flattering on me. I feel like my arms are a little bit bigger, and I just think like cuffing it here might make my lower arms. I just didn't think it would be super flattering. So I do like the modification I made to make the sleeve shorter. I think it is more flattering for me. I quite like the color. I like the yarn, how breathable it is. But yeah, I just am a little bit disappointed, I guess, at how big it ended up being. It definitely was a learning experience, and I will still wear it. I have been wearing it. It's very comfortable. It's just because it is big and it stretches so much. I also need to wear like a bralette or something because the V stretches so much it'll be like really, really low. And I'm not trying to flash everybody all the time, you know. So, especially when I'm wearing like a casual t-shirt like this. The knitting experience of this yarn for me also was not my favorite. I found it quite splitty, and I've heard that this varies depending on the color that you use. So maybe this pea shoots color is just particularly splitty, but yeah, I found it to be really splitty while working with it. I did knit it on Chagu. That's pretty much all I use. That's all I have is Chagu. And overall, I liked the experience, but I did have to be careful not to split it, especially doing like the increases. I found myself a little bit annoyed by how splitty it was. So yeah, I guess I would say like my overall experience with this was I'm a little bit disappointed at the overall result for how much work it was, but it is super light. It's very comfortable. It's just too big. So that's the big bummer there. I think I would remake this pattern. I would make a smaller size for sure. And I would just know that it's going to be like a long endeavor. I would say I'm not going to be rushing to remake this pattern, but I know so many other people have had such successful results with it, and I really just think that the sizing issue is a me error. So I probably will be either re-swatching before I make it again, make it in a different yarn, or just make it in a smaller size. Probably would have fixed a lot of my issues with it. If you see my cat behind me, that's Zelda. She's trouble. Her favorite toy in the whole world right now is my like stitch holders, like the rubber tubing. I forget what it's called, barber cord. She loves it so much, so I play with that with her all the time, so she gets excited when she sees it. But yeah, that was the Cumulus Tee by Petiteknit. My next finished object is the Lacey Loops Tee by Other Loops, and I just finished this recently, so it has not been blocked yet. So keep that in mind. Sorry, forgive the unevenness. I really think that this t-shirt is going to look amazing once it has been blocked. So I wish I had been blocked before I filmed this, but this is her. I loved making this pattern. This is a drop shoulder construction. It's got the all over lace and then garter stitch details. It's quite oversized, really big. I'm not sure the size range. I think the size range on this tee isn't like great, as well as some other loops. Like I think Other Loops sometimes has that, like not the biggest size range in the world. But I will say that this has so much positive ease that I think even if you were like a little bit, I honestly think it would be harder if you were under the size range than over, because this has so much positive ease. I think you could still probably make the largest size even if you were, you know, normally a little bit of a bigger size than that. I think it would still be fine. It's pretty big per size, and I think, you know, you could kind of figure out how to make it work, or I think it just would work if you're okay with a little bit less positive ease. That being said, I wish that the size range was a little bit bigger. But yeah, so I made this. This I worked on pretty slowly over the course of a couple of months. Unlike this mixer Cami, which I really knit on a lot, or the Cumulus Tee, which I really focused on. I think this took me 2 months. I think I knit on it at the same time as both of those projects, kind of as a relief from the 3mm fingering weight projects. The yarn I used for this is Sandnes Garn Lena in the shade light beige, I believe. I'll put the number code in the description because I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I mostly made this to pattern. I made the length exactly as specified in the pattern. I think I shortened the bottom rib by like 1 centimeter or 2 because I was just over it. And when I stretched it like vertically a little bit, it was the correct length. And I think that this will probably block down vertically, and I didn't want it to be super duper long. I'm fairly tall. I'm like 5'8", maybe 5'9", 5'7". I think it depends on the day. But my torso is not super long. I don't think. And I find that if I knit things to lengthen the pattern, they're too long. And I like to wear high-waisted things. So my legs are quite long. So yeah, I'm worried that this might be slightly long, but it's such an oversized kind of comfy vibe that I think it'll be okay. So I did make the body to pattern. I did make a modification on the sleeves. So the sleeves, it calls for 3 repeats of the pattern, and you don't start with this garter stitch, like the garter stitch repeat here. You just go straight into like the stockinette part before the lace. I wanted the garter stitch to be like the arm border. I thought that looked nice, and I saw some other projects on Ravelry had done that, and I liked how that looked. And then once it got to 2 repeats, I felt like this was long enough. Let me just pop it on for you guys, like over top of my other tee here. It's gonna be probably a little weird with the color through, but you can get an idea of how it fits. Okay, hopefully you can see. So this is before blocking. I do expect it to grow, but the sleeves are already quite long. Oh my gosh. She's so cute, I can't stand it. Hopefully you guys can see how adorable she's being for the camera. I just love her too much. But yeah, so this is how it fits. I am quite pleased with it. The arms are almost to the elbow already, and this is pre-blocking. So what I'm hoping happens with blocking is just the lace opens up and evens everything out slightly. And then the arms just kind of unscrunch a little bit too. So I think it'll just be like a super comfy, oversized vibe. I'm not sure that this cut is like the most flattering for me, like this kind of shirt, but I really like it. The knitting process was really fun. I do think that the lace sometimes hurts my hands. So that was kind of a lesson, because I'm thinking of making some future projects that are just lace. So I think I'll need to spend some more time on those, because I did find that the lace, especially right after the stockinette, hurt my hands, like the knitting two together a bunch. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if that's just a me issue or if that's a common experience, but I did find that to be the case. I don't think I have anything else to say on this. I liked my tubular bind off here. I think I did a good job for once. The rest are all just kind of knit bind offs, so they're not super stretchy, but it's not really a problem because the garment is so oversized. Yeah, I really like this pattern. I thought it was very fun, quick knit. I know that she has like the tank top version of this. I may knit that in the future. I definitely would knit this again if I wanted one, or if somebody else wanted one. I think it's one that doesn't take like the most amount of time, just because you are using a DK. Where I think actually Line is worsted. Worsted? I did knit it on 4mm needles, not 4.5. Depending on what yarn you use in the pattern, you can do 4 or 4.5. I didn't actually gauge swatch for this, but I knew that I probably would want to err on the side of less positive ease and less air, because it already is like a very airy pattern, and I felt like the Line was, I know it's worsted technically. To me, it doesn't feel like a thick worsted. Maybe that's just like my delusion. So I did do the 4mm needles, and then I sized down to 3.5 for the ribbing and the neck. I don't know the US conversion. Sorry, I don't, I look at needles and just the millimeters. I'm a big metric believer for an American. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, this is my Lacey Loops tee. Really liked this pattern. It was very fun. I would make this again. And like I said, I think I'd make the tank version too, because I think that I really like the pattern. I think the tank would be super cute. And I think that that would knit up like super fast. So yeah, that's my Lacey Loops. Okay, I'll let you guys admire Zelda for a second. She's such a baby. This t-shirt matches her eye color like perfectly. All right, my last finished object today is this pair of ribbed DK socks. I made these for my dad. We went to Arizona. We drove across the country together. He goes back and forth across the country every summer and winter, and my stepmom wasn't able to go with him because she just had surgery, so I went with him, and we stopped in Arizona in Tucson, and we went to this really cute yarn shop. I'll put the name below. I should have looked this up ahead of time. Super cute shop. And I told my dad to pick a sock yarn, and I led him towards the fingering sock yarn, and he's like, I like this one. He's like, I like it to be like a comfy warm sock, like thicker. And I'm like, okay, say less, because that's less work that I have to do on a gift knit. And I also hadn't made socks before. This is my first pair of socks, so I thought, perfect, DK will be great. This is by Hot Magenta Yarn Company, and I think the color is Limpet Shell, if I remember correctly. I'll put the whole yarn details down below, but this is a really lovely feeling superwash DK. There's no nylon in this, it's just a superwash DK, but he is going to use these as just lounge house socks, and I don't know if they're the most durable without the nylon. I've heard mixed things. Some people swear by the nylon, some people like the non-superwash, some people. So I just thought, he likes the yarn, I'll get the yarn, I'll make him a comfy pair of socks. If they don't last forever, they don't last forever. There's so much cat hair and my hair in these. Bye, Zella. But yeah, this was my first ever pair of socks. And this also is just some black superwash DK I had in stash. I actually don't remember what it is. It might be like a Cascade or something. My God, I need to defur these. But yeah, so this is the basic ribbed DK. It's in Summerlee's book, and I really liked it. I did the heel flap and gusset for the first time. I liked that. I think my second sock is a lot better with that. The first sock, I had like a hole where the decreases were supposed to be that I had to like kind of fix. You can, I don't know if you can see it there. It doesn't look perfect, but I'm hoping he doesn't notice that. But on my second sock, I feel like I made the decreases here in the pickup along the side of it much better. And then I did a contrast toe, which was fun. And then I'm actually really happy with my Kitchener on the toe. I think it looks very neat. I was surprised at myself because I haven't really done Kitchener, though it is like kind of the same thing as the Italian bind off. So I guess I had kind of done it before. Or at least I think it's the same thing. I'm pretty new to knitting again, so you know, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm really happy with how these came out. I have another skein of this yarn. This only took one skein to make both of these socks in that yarn. I didn't make them like, you know, the biggest cuff, but I think that these will be perfect for him to wear around the house. My boyfriend tried them on and he wants a pair now, so yeah, I've made myself some more gift knitting work, but I'm really happy with how these turned out. I haven't blocked them yet, so they're not like super even, but I will say I feel like the rib isn't terrible here with like the last one being huge, but it is bigger. Again, you can see, like, again, I tried to keep it pretty tight, the tension, but that last rib is still a little bit bigger. Yeah, these are my first ever pair of socks, and I am really interested in trying out different techniques, especially for the heel. I like the heel flap and gusset. I think knitting that is like fun, and I do like the way it feels, but I think for me, when I knit my pair of socks, I'd like to experiment with an afterthought or forethought heel, and do like a contrast heel and toe, because I think that's cute. I also think just the toe is cute, or no contrast at all. And since these are like a pretty simple sock, if I do make these again, I'll probably try out a different technique just to learn it. I also have been eyeing up some other DK sock patterns, and I might make one of those instead for myself, but we'll see. I am going to make pretty much the same pattern again for my boyfriend because he does like the rib the way it is. So yeah. All right, now we're on whips, which is exciting. I have a few things, and then I have a lot of future plans, so I'll talk about kind of all of the above, but I'll start with my whips. my first whip I'll start with, and don't judge me for like the state that these are. I kind of just keep them in one place usually, and I just leave them on the needles. I like to live on the edge. I do have the back on hold right now, and it's on like kind of a short barber cord, so it's like all scrunched up. But this is a test knit for the Knit Purl girl. This is the Juno Sweater Chunky, and the yarns I'm using I'm obsessed with. This is Lucky Tweed by Kelbourne Woolens in the shade Fuschia. So this is a worsted weight yarn. It's genuine Donegal tweed made in Ireland from the brand Kelbourne Woolens, and it's 100% merino, 100 grams, 190 meters. This is a beautiful, beautiful yarn. It's this beautiful fuchsia color, and then the tweed specs are all different colors. So there's like red, green, blue, yellow, purple. They are beautiful. This is a really interesting construction on this sweater. You like start in the round and you do increases constantly for a while, and there's kind of like one raglan kind of stitch. I'm not really sure what this kind of construction is called, because you knitted in the round to start with, did a bunch of increases for the front and back, and then you split for front and back, and then you knit them flat for a little bit. So this test knit is due in September or August or September. I need to double check, but I'm slowly working on this. It is really, really hot for working with this in mohair. Oh, the mohair, I forgot. This mohair is from the shop Woolbearers, which is in New Jersey, and it is their hand-dyed mohair. And the wonderful woman who worked there basically tried to match it for me, and I think she did a fantastic job matching. And this is super duper soft. It is, let's see if I can get this out with like, oh, unraveling my thing. This is Kid Silk Lace 2. It's 64% mohair, 36% silk. So it is really, really soft. So this is really, really soft, and the shade match is insane, like insanely good. So I like the core of it is white, and you can see it sometimes in the stitches, but I do think it just like adds to the visual interest. I'm really excited for how this is working up and looking, and yeah, I'm excited to continue working on this, especially if we get some cooler days, because when this gets bigger, I'm not gonna be able to sit with it on my lap in this weather. It's just too warm. This pattern does have two different weights. There's like, I think it's like a DK weight, and then this like chunky weight. So this is worsted plus mohair, so it's like a bulky gauge. So I'm knitting this up on 6mm needles, which is what I needed to match the gauge of the pattern. Yeah, I think this pattern will be released in September or so. So this is my first time test knitting for the Knit Purl girl. I love so many of her designs. A lot of them are like on my wish list /queue. So I was really excited for this one though, because I love tweed yarns, and this is a nice, beautiful stockinette pattern. I think it's really just going to show off the yarns so well. So I'm excited to continue working on this and have it done in time for cool weather. Okay, my next whip that I have is the Sailor Swift Top Tee Tank by Kutovakika. I am knitting this with Sewrella, their Disneyland collection. This is the Silk Sock, and I have two different shades. I don't think I kept those. I have two different shades. One is Epcot. I think this is Epcot, and then I'll have to, I think this is like, I should have looked this up, but yeah, two different shades of the yarn, and this is so soft, such a nice base. Quite pricey because it's hand dyed, but I am excited because I think these colors just look insane together. I'm really, really excited to wear this. I don't know if it's a good color for me. I'm thinking of having my colors done to figure out like what colors I should be knitting with before I spend so much time on this. but this pattern calls for, I think, sport by default, but it says you can knit it from fingering to DK. You might just have to you'll get like a thinner, more drapey fabric or thicker fabric. So I'm knitting this on 3mm needles, and it's a fingering weight. And I really like the fabric I'm getting, and I wouldn't want to change it. I wouldn't want to go up or down, I don't think. I think down would be a lot of knitting. But I really actually love the fabric I'm getting. It's very soft, very stretchy, not see-through. And I am significantly off gauge, though, is the bad news with this. So I looked through the projects, and I saw some other people have knitted it in similar yarns, like other Sewrella fingerings or other fingering weight yarns. My cat is crazy. This is like the cat episode. That's okay. Zelda is very entertaining and probably better to look at than me. So, hi baby. Yeah, she's possessed. I'm gonna have to play with her again. So I'm off gauge, and I found other people who were off gauge as well. And basically people said that they just did like an extra repeat, added some more stitches to the underarm. So what I decided to do is you do a certain amount of repeats, and then you do some certain amount of other repeats of the pattern with increases. I just added some extra increases. Like, you don't increase every row. So I've made more rows where you do increase, and then I'm going to do another increase repeat in the hope that it will be wide enough. So I still have a little bit to go. This is the back, but I was trying to just measure it to see like if I'm getting close to it. I think once all the repeat rows I'm going to do are done, and doing that extra one like the other person did, I am hoping that'll work out. I didn't really do any math. So this is an experiment, and it might end up being a huge time-wasting experiment, but sometimes you just have to live on the edge. You know, sometimes you would just rather YOLO it than do the calculations, and I'm hoping it works out for me. I will be reporting back. This could be a disaster. I am really enjoying this. I do like knitting stripes because there's just always something to work for. I love how these yarns look together, and yeah, I'm quite excited to continue working on this. I think there's just something about the stripes that's so pleasing to look at. I just love knitting stripes. So this has been my main focus right now, and I'm really enjoying this yarn. This yarn is just amazing. Quite pricey because it's, you know, Sewrella and it's silk. But I would say the feel of it is absolutely wonderful. So so far, loving it. May not be loving it if it doesn't fit. Worst case, if it doesn't fit, I frog it and try again, or I give it to somebody, and it's like the nicest gift I've ever given anyone. So we'll see. Okay, I have one more whip, and this is her. This is she. This is the wave top. Wave tee, wave top. Yep, by Petiteknit. And this is like using Gepard Garn Cotton Waves. This is in the color 715 Boat Blue. This is a 90% cotton, 10% linen yarn with a very fun texture. You guys have probably seen this. I think other people have been talking about it. I ordered this from Canada to work on this top, and it is knit up on 6mm needles. So far so good with it. I don't know why I haven't been like drawn to working this more. I'm probably gonna take my needles off my sweater and put it back on this so I can finish this in time to wear for the summer. It's quite a chunky yarn, so I would say that this is probably gonna be like good for when I go out to Washington State, like a place that isn't super humid and super duper hot, because sorry, my cat is like literally possessed right now. I don't know why. But you know, a place that isn't super humid and extremely hot, because I think that this might just be like too thick to wear here right now with all the humidity and stuff that we're having. But yeah, this is an interesting construction. I think it's just like a raglan kind of construction perhaps, or you know, some of the shaping is like not traditional raglan though. but yeah, I'm excited for this. I think that this will be like a quick knit because the sleeves are really little, and you know, it's 6mm needles and it's just a t-shirt. So I probably will go ahead and steal my needles back from my sweater, finish this up, and then put them back on the sweater. I don't really have a lot else to say about that project. I haven't really worked on it for that long. That didn't take me very long to do, and then I like kind of put it on hold, and then I haven't picked it back up again. So clearly I'm not like the most thrilled about it, but I think it will be like a nice, kind of a little bit warmer but still breathable and kind of interesting summer tee. Okay. Acquisitions. Most of my acquisitions are already in the whips. I haven't got anything else. I've been trying not to order yarn because I am going to Seattle for, I think it's Flock, perhaps. I'm going there in August, intend to buy some yarn there. And then I'm going to Copenhagen and Stockholm in late August, and I will be buying yarn there for a lot of my future plans for winter. So I've been trying to not buy any other yarn. I did pick up this, which is Veronika. I think it's classic. I'll put the name of the yarn. I am sorry, I'm just like not prepared today. And it's like coming on round. But yeah, this I got because I got it at my local yarn store. I was looking for a DK weight yarn to make my boyfriend some socks. And the woman said that this was good for machine washing because my boyfriend, he's like, I'm gonna machine wash them. I'm like, well, I don't think you should. So if you're, and then, but she showed me, she had a sample of socks knit up in this. This is actually worsted. She had a sock sample knit up in this that she said had been washed and dried several times and they still looked fine. So it was also like $10 a skein. I think this is a mix of superwash. I think there's nylon in here. I think there's acrylic perhaps. So yeah, and it was, you know, $10. So I'm going to make him a pair of worsted weight socks in this yarn. I'll probably just do like a basic ribbed sock again. Yeah, this should be a pretty quick knit, and I'll make it in time for his birthday, which is in November. I'm also gonna make him a pair of fingerless gloves for his birthday, which he requested a long time ago. So yeah, those will kind of be his birthday knits. And then some upcoming projects I've been thinking about that I just want to talk through a little bit about some yarn that I'm going to probably pick up for these projects. These are kind of what I'm starting to think about fall projects already. I may do a whole video of like patterns I want to knit this fall and winter, or fall winter plans. But some ones that I'm considering or I want to make are the Lumi pullover by Sarah Norland. It's a beautiful colorwork. It's very popular. It's a beautiful colorwork jumper. It's got a circular yoke. I've never made a circular yoke. I've never really done colorwork. So I think why not just go full in on that. A little nervous about that, but from what I understand, it's not like a horribly difficult colorwork project. So I'll probably be looking to pick up some yarn for that while I'm in Copenhagen. That's my plan for that one. I want to make the Purl cardigan. I forget who made that. I'll put it here, but I think it's a fingering and a mohair all together. I have a mohair I got on sale from Knit Picks a while ago. So I'm just gonna be looking for a matching merino probably for that. I may get that at Flock, or I might get that at in Copenhagen. I kind of want like a tweedy one perhaps, or maybe, you know, maybe splurge on like a hand dyed. I'm not sure. That cardigan I love. I think it's beautiful. I've never made a cardigan. I would love a hand knit cardigan, so that will be on my list. There's a billion other things I want to knit. I want to play around with like maybe a hat and do some color work. I might do duplicate stitch color work on that. So there's a bunch of other things I have coming up, but those are the two I definitely know I want to make soon. So yeah, those are some future plans. All right, so that's all the knitting stuff. If that's all you're here for, I'm going to cover some media that I've been liking while I've been knitting. But if you're just into knitting, thank you so much for watching and making it to this point in the video. If you haven't, if you would consider subscribing, that would be amazing. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you next time. Okay, so media. I am fully obsessed with Taskmaster. It's a British comedy panel competition show, but it's not really a competition. I would just say it's hilarious and, you know, pointless in the most beautiful way. Every season has 5 different, mostly comedians that are British mostly, and they come on together, do very silly tasks, and it's just a very silly, wonderful show. As someone who's like super nerdy and kind of loves all the nerdy statistics and stuff around it, I think it's just wonderful. Yeah, if you haven't watched it and you like British humor, British TV, or just kind of like silly, pointless things, like if you like, I don't know, I was always a big Whose Line Is It Anyways fan, kind of the points don't matter sort of vibe. It's a wonderful show, and it's so it's so like calming and nice to watch while knitting. I have a hard time sometimes with dramas and more tense TV or media because I feel like there's enough tension and things going on in the world for me at once. Like that's enough of, like I just think about that a lot. I get like really tense about that, and I'm looking for some more relaxing media. So I love Taskmaster a lot. I also recently watched Fleabag fully. I think I had seen the first season before, and I rewatched Fleabag and I loved that show. That was really great. Then I have a few books lined up to read, but I haven't finished any of them yet because I've been knitting and watching so much Taskmaster and other just comedians. So I'm really into stand-up comedy right now, kind of courtesy of Taskmaster, like it kind of got me into it. But there's a lot of British and otherwise comedians that I've been watching specials of and just kind of enjoying. And basically so many British comedians. I've been watching like clips from, like YouTube just recommends me clips on Would I Lie to You, Never Mind the Buzzcocks, Big Fat Quiz of the Year, all those sort of really fun. 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown, is that their name? I don't know. Anyway, it's just a lot of British TV, and I've always loved British everything. So it's been really fun. It's been really good to do that and knit. But yeah, that's kind of my media update. I did also recently see Superman the movie. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but I think it was really good. Really enjoyed it. It kind of feels, I don't know if you guys have felt this way, like when the Marvel Universe first started up with like Iron Man and stuff like that, I loved it. I loved those movies, but it got to a point where I just felt like there was too much, like too many shows, too much going on. So I'm hoping that if they're redoing this DC universe that they don't do that. Like, I get that they want to make shows and stuff around it, and I think that's fine, but sometimes it just, like, if there's a ton of references or you need to know who people are or whatever, it just feels really overwhelming if there's so much media, at least to me. Like, I enjoy the cadence of like a movie a year for the Marvel universe. So I hope DC kind of does that. I'm excited for the Supergirl that's coming out next June. I think that'll be fun. So yeah, well, that's the end of the podcast. I hope wherever you all are that you're having a wonderful day, and let me know in the comments below what projects you're working on right now. If you're still working on summer knits, or if you're starting to think about fall, winter, perhaps. Unless you live in the Southern Hemisphere, then maybe it's reversed. So I would love to know what y'all are working on, and I hope you have the best day. Bye, see you next time.